Hello and greetings, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the I Goddess Tings podcast. This is the first video edition that we're doing. I don't even know how much of this video you'll get to see, but I'm talking to you right now just in case so you can see me. I'm your host, Camille, Telicia, the Intentional Goddess. I'm so grateful you're back again for another episode. And all this month long, the month of March, you are going to get a chance to meet my fellow co-authors of the upcoming book, Shenomenal Women. I'm really, really excited. This is an anthology book in which powerful women are celebrating our stories of overcoming and just stepping into our power. There are 23 authors in total. And so each episode this month, you will get a chance to meet a couple, a few, a group of the authors that are a part of this beautiful project. So stick around. And when you get back, you'll get to meet the first set. Welcome to the I Goddess Tings podcast, a show for the goddesses that is a safe space for us to be ourselves and to talk about all of the things we experience, that we love, we're challenged by, and even working through. I'm your host, speaker, author, and coach, Camille Telicia, aka Goddess Camille, aka the one and only Intentional Goddess. Let's start the show. Okay, beautiful people, welcome back. It's time for you to officially meet my first set of co-authors today. With me, I have the beautiful Shirrell Edey, Danisha Jeter, and Anne-Marie Anderson. And of course, before I start chitty-chatting with them like we do, having the goddess gab and the things, you get to actually meet them to find out who they are. And so first up, we have Shirrell. Shirrell, please introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone out there. Thank you for joining, watching. My name is Shirrell Edey. I am the owner and executive chef at LOVE Premier Catering. LOVE stands for Living Our Vision Every Day. I'm also the franchise owner for Chefs for Seniors. Looking forward to this conversation with these other beautiful ladies. It's good to meet you all.
Amazing, beautiful. Thank you. Welcome, Shirrell. Next up, we have the beautiful Denisha Jeter. I hope I said that right. Did I get the last name correct? I did.
The Jeter, potato. So yes, I'm Danisha Jeter. I am a registered nurse by profession, but I've just taken a little stop out to kind of throw myself into my businesses. I'm a co-owner of Dirty Deeds Dumping. We are a trucking company that my husband runs, and I just kind of manage on the back end. And then we also have TNT Photo Booth. That's my baby. Pretty much we offer photo booth rentals for parties, and I also do balloon decorations. I'm a mother of 4 beautiful children. And right now, I'm just, like I said, trying to figure out this whole COVID thing with this nursing thing. But nice to meet everybody.
Welcome, welcome, Denisha. And finally, certainly last but not least, we have Miss Anne-Marie Anderson. Welcome, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, Camille. Hello, everybody. So I'm Anne-Marie Anderson, and I have a background in business and accounting, but I've actually taken a break from that more recently so that I could do more entrepreneurial work. I'm actually working on building my life insurance agency right now, Faith Over Fear. And we're offering basically life insurance options and retirement plans, and just educating people on what their options are as far as planning for retirement and making sure that their families are taken care of in the event that something happens. So I'm so glad to be here today, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, do y'all see we got these powerful entrepreneurial women? Yes, okay. And so since we're on video, we must address, y'all, we have the wine, okay? This is, y'all know how I do on the podcast. Like, we're just here to have fun, have some goddess time. I have my, oh, you can't even see it. I have my cider. We have wine. I think everybody else got wine. I put my cider in a wine glass so I could be classy. But that's... But we're here having a little bit of a goddess night virtually as well. And so essentially you guys just get to peek in on the conversation. How about that? So to kick things off, as I said, guys, these 3 fabulous ladies are part of the upcoming anthology book, Shenomenal Women. And we each are sharing, because I also am a part of one of the authors, hello. But we each are sharing personal stories, okay, about actual real life things that we have dealt with and overcome. And we're sharing it in, I mean, personally, I think it was very vulnerable, open, transparent ways. And so I think it's just really great for us to get an opportunity to give you all a deeper look into who we are beyond our stories. And so that's the intention for today's episode. And also just for us to chitty chat as well as women, because that's what I love, what we get to do as women. So anyways, where do we want to start? So I'm kind of curious, very quickly, in like 2 sentences or less. I'm going to go to Denisha first. What is the summary, synopsis of what your chapter is about without giving away all the juice? Because we want these folks to go get the book. Yes? I mean, hello. Hello. We're all entrepreneurs. So you know we're not about to just give the whole cow away for free, guys. So we'll start with Denisha, then Anne Marie and Shirrell. Tell us the 2 to 3 sentence summary of your chapter.
Well, my chapter kind of is an overview of pretty much the most life-changing relationship that I had with myself and a romantic partner, and just how it, molded me to the woman that I am today.
Y'all like the teas? Do y'all like the tea? I love it. I love it. I love it. Anne Marie, how about you?
So my chapter is very similar. It's about overcoming challenges in a relationship and finding yourself in the aftermath.
I keep forgetting I'm on mute. I'm over here like, yes, that's good. Yes. Okay, perfect. Shirrell?
So my chapter is about where my journey began, um, the bumps that took place to lead me to loving me.
Oh, a little self-love journey. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so first things first, y'all. Let's be honest, even though we're in this society of like, share all your business on social media, like, I think that there are a lot of us who are not about that life. So what made you even say yes to being a part of this book, right? To saying, yeah, I'm willing to share my story. I'm willing to get vulnerable and open with you guys and put it out there for potentially the world to see. Amory, what made you say yes?
Wow. So, a couple things actually that made me say yes. One, I felt a prompting even before I was approached. I just felt a prompting that, I needed to share my story and, I needed to start writing. So, when I was approached, it was kind of a confirmation that this is what I need to be doing. But then also, along that same lines, I just felt like for myself, I was on a journey of like speaking my truth and owning my truth. And so for me, I felt like if I could do that, I could be an example and an encouragement for another woman that might be experiencing the same thing. Because I feel like a lot of times as women, sometimes we are in a situation where we feel ashamed, or maybe because of pride or whatever the reason may be, that we feel silenced in sharing our story. And so I just felt like that could give another woman freedom, and that alone would be kind of a silver lining in what I had been through myself. If that could help somebody else, give somebody else freedom to be able to, come through that, or to be able to feel free to speak their own truth. So
I love that. I love that. And I really appreciate the fact that you are immediately considering your impact on other people, right? For other women. And I love that. So thank you. Yes, Shirrell, what about you? Why were you a yes?
Um, Again, like you said, Anne Marie, there was a few reasons. First and foremost, I've had a book in me for years. As I have opened up to people and shared very intimate parts of myself to very special people, not everyone. Every single person has said, when are you going to write a book? And I've always thought to do it, um, because people look at us and say, oh my gosh, what do you mean you have flaws? What do you mean you've been through something? What do you mean your life wasn't perfect and you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth? What do you mean that everything, your path wasn't perfect and smooth? No, it was not by a long shot. And I came to realize, number one, that I need to empower women who feel like they just are not going to make it to that vision of themselves. That if you just allow yourself to love yourself and also be okay with not being okay. Let me say that again. Being okay with not being okay is okay. It's okay. And um, equally as important, I'm just going to put it out there. I owe God. He brought me here. And he said, this is the only thing that I'm asking you to do is to reach down and pull another strong woman up with your story. And I said, okay, God. So here I am.
Y'all, I mean, if I wasn't in the book, I would like want to be in the book at this point. I love it. Okay. The wine, it's kicking. Denisha, what about you? Why were you a guest?
Well, unlike these two, I really wasn't thinking about writing a book. The visionary for the book, it was a personal friend of mine, and known her since high school. And this is pretty much our third collaboration on something similar. She does these empowerment conferences, and I spoke at two of them. And just that experience alone, just sharing my story and getting the feedback that I got. I met Shirrell at one of those empowerment. That's and her story is just amazing. And I went there and just being able to just tell my story, and the women that I would see, I've seen people outside of that, and they were just, I mean, walk up and hug me like, you're just so powerful. Your story is so powerful. That was just, I mean, wait, maybe 20, 30 women at a time. So writing, collaborating to the book, I have the power to reach out to many more people. And I think that, like everyone else has said, I have something to say. And, I didn't always, it looks like on the outside, we're always together, but it was a journey to get here, and and telling my story empowers other people. So I just felt like it was my duty to just, go ahead and be a yes to this as well.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And folks, you will get a chance to meet our visionary author. I think that's her official title, right? The book's visionary author, Miss Tasha Champion, probably will be the finale of this series, and will be a one-on-one conversation because the visionary deserves as much, does she not, ladies? So yeah, you'll get a chance to meet her and hear her story as well. Well, read her story, but hear a little bit about her story ahead of time. The teasers that we're going to give you guys tonight as well with these beautiful women. And I mean, I really just want to honor the fact that for each of you, there's this like selflessness in your yes, right? And in your why. So this may be a play or a continuation of the one thing. If it is, then you feel free to share and elaborate a little bit more. But what do you feel like was the hardest thing for you to share or be open about inside of telling your story? Yeah, do you guys feel like you have something outside of the surprise, or do you want to elaborate? Feel free to go where you want to go with it. Shirrell, you're nodding, so I'm gonna give you the first step.
Okay, yes, there is something outside of the story, which will tie into the story ultimately. But the hardest thing that I had to write about was a relationship that I had with, I'll say, a family member, and it the fact that other family members, when they read this, are going to not be real happy about my truth about that relationship, and I feel like I might lose a few folks. But you know what? I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with that. And I hope that they can be okay with that, because I am selfish in this journey. And this is what I need to be for me. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Absolutely unapologetic. Self care, self love is where I'm living today. Take it or leave it. Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. What?
Sorry,
What?
not
Sorry,
sorry.
not sorry. What are you talking about? Okay, so before we want the other ladies answer, I just feel like I know you already shared why you said yes, but I really would just love for you to just talk about briefly at length, whatever you feel comfortable with, why you felt it was necessary to go that extra step, because that's something that we hear a lot. Like, if something happens within the family, it's like, oh, don't put the family's business out there, don't let people know. And like, you literally just said, you're probably risking relationships, right? And so what is making it worth it for you?
I've got to breathe. I need to breathe. I need to breathe out this pain. I need to let it go. I have decided to make the choice to take a chance to make a change for me. And I am embracing that today. If I reach one person through my words, through my story, it will be 100% worth it. There is a beautiful ebony queen out there who feels like, okay, as long as I just, keep this part, and I keep this image, and I keep this, perfect, hair and makeup. And even if the hair and makeup isn't perfect, as long as we don't know, the dark side, and we're just not living our truth, and we're not being transparent. And I don't know, it's crazy. I feel so comfortable in my transparency, and I no longer care. I don't care who doesn't like it. And it feels so good. It feels so good to just not care anymore. I was so busy protecting other people's feelings, and protecting this image that was the outside. But too many of us are doing that. And if you don't address what's inside, you can wear all the Birkin bags and the red bottoms and the, you know, champagne and whatever it is that you want to dress up on the outside. But when you strip that off at the end of the day, if you can't look in the mirror and genuinely love yourself, then what are you doing? That was something that I hadn't done. I hadn't learned how to love me. I was trying to change and be perfect, and even with my sobriety, it was because I was being forced to do that. It was because it was court ordered, because I had children. It was because society said, "You're a mom now. Thank you, Denisha. You're a mom now, and you have to be this perfect person." I'm sorry. They sold out of the instruction manuals for mommyhood. They just Amazon everybody out, and then nobody had none. So I was trying to live that perfect vision, and I think my substance abuse got worse. My relapses got worse each time I relapsed, because I was trying so hard to be this perfect person. And so the story behind the story is, um, I had to get raw and real and take a chance with this person today. And I love me some her. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Yeah, I do.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh, I love it. Shirrell, I love it. I'm sorry. Sorry, podcasters. Sorry, listeners. If you're not watching the video, I just did like a mini dance. That was the silence. But yeah, like I love everything you just said, and I think it's so important, and I think it's going to be so powerful. So yeah, thank you. Okay. I don't remember what the original question was. Let me go back to my list. What was the hardest thing for you to open up? Yeah, I was like, what were we talking about? Because Shirrell just took us to church for a second, but no problem. Okay. Denisha, are you ready? Do you want to go next? Okay. What was the hardest thing for you to open up about as you were writing your chapter?
um, my mother played a huge role in this time period of my time, that in my mind frame. And I had just lost my mother. Like, it's been almost 2 years now, but like I started writing a book like a year to the day that she passed. And I had to reconcile some things. You know, she was gone, and just having to just think about my life from this point on. I had to be real about that relationship, because that relationship taught me how to be a mother. And now again, I have to address how I'm mothering my my daughters. So I had to get raw and get to the real part of that, so I can heal that, even though she isn't here. I still had to address it, because it was a defining moment in my life. She's a defining factor in my life. And I had to address that. And it was kind of difficult, because, losing her and then still having to kind of, speak about these things are not so pretty about her. Again, family may not like it, but it's the truth. And like I said, I don't blame her, because again, her mother taught her how to be a mother. My mother taught me to be a mother. So not to any fault of her own that, her deficiencies were any fault of her own, excuse me, but they were there. And I had to realize that I had to recognize that. I had to deal with that, and I have to move on from that. And to do that, you have to be honest about it. So it was difficult writing it. It was difficult revealing those things, but it just is what it is. And like I said, I don't, I'm not upset with her. I love her. It's, what I mean, that to the end. And I hope everybody else, understands that. And if they don't, that's their issue, not mine. But that was pretty much, where I am with it.
Yeah, you know what? And my chapter also talks about the passing of my mom, which this month will be 5 years. And I don't remember if I put in my chapter, but in real life, like that was also part of my journey as well. It's so interesting, right? That healing process that takes place after they're gone, like the healing of the relationship, where like now we're healing in spirit, but it's very powerful. And I think like what you were saying, how your mom, how'd you say, your mom learned it from her mom, that sort of thing. And the way well, that was part of my lesson as well. But the phrasing for me really became like, she did the best she could. Like that was really part of what supported me in just kind of creating that healing after she had passed, when now I'm getting this clarity, but I can't have these conversations with you anymore.
Exactly.
So, it's just like, okay, you did the best you could. And I mean, it's crazy to say, but I feel closer to her than ever now. Like, you know what I mean?
Back to that, right? It was like after her passing, and I was able to just sit in it, and I understand her more now. Now that she's gone, I understand her. Like other people coming to me at her funeral and talking to me, telling me things about my mom that I had no idea. And she, especially your parents kind of like are different, different people. So they had other parts of her that I had no idea about. So I had to get that from people. Like I said, some people didn't even know, but just at the funeral, they telling me certain things, and I feel closer to her. I do understand her a lot better now that she's not here than when I actually had her. We just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Can I just say something really quick, ladies? You mentioned, Telicia, that you're healing in the spirit. I think the reason that it's easier to heal in the spirit is because that person that is gone doesn't have an opportunity to interrupt your thought. They can't stop you from saying what you're saying. They have no choice but to hear you, either respect or not respect it, but you don't know because they're not here, right? You get an opportunity to say all of those things that person.
She's frozen, right? Okay. I was like,
look, that's my mom. She don't, she's like, I'm gonna interrupt you.
you said, oh, you thought I couldn't. Oh, you thought I couldn't.
No, just froze for a second. Can you guys hear me?
Back, Shirrell?
Oh, is it me?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Oh,
Your
no.
video is even frozen.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold on. Okay, you're back now.
Oh, okay.
I don't even remember. I don't remember because we started laughing. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that healing in the spirit is so much easier to do because that person doesn't have an opportunity to give you back. Mm-hmm. They can't push back. And you can speak to their heart in the most uninterrupted way. And you get to feel their response instead of hear their response. because you're already setting up in your mind, you know what they're going to say, you know what their response is going to be. They're going to reject it, they're not going to like what you say. But healing in the spirit is a different creature. It's those quiet conversations that you're able to have on your own terms, in your own time, in your own way. And that's why I think that healing in the spirit is different.
And I agree.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And I love what you said about we can feel their response, because I genuinely believe that. Like, I feel that's why I said I feel like we are closer now than before, because even though she may not come into my dreams as regularly as she used to, but like I feel her around all the time. I talk to her all the time. Like it's just, and it feels so clear. You know what I mean? And they say that when people transition, the humanity piece, right, like the ego that's here trying to protect them in the physical is gone, and so now they have that clarity, right? And so the things that I'm saying now to her, or what I'm thinking, whatever, it's like there's no need for the resistance, because all it is just pure love now that's coming from her. And so that's what I genuinely feel like that. And so I don't know, that's just what came up as you were sharing, Tanisha. It's like I'm with you
Nice.
on the mom healing. Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to you guys healing in that spirit. There's some people that just choose not to address what healing needs to take place once that person is gone. And so kudos to you guys for just taking the time to do that.
Anne-Marie, do you mind if we touch on that for a second before we go to you for your answer? Because I think that's all, like, I think we get to address that. Do you have any loss? Do you want to also chime in on that, Anne-Marie, like a passing?
No, I mean, I've experienced some loss recently, but not as it relates to my story or that anybody, that I had to get healing from that way. So,
Mhm.
but I completely agree with everything that's being said because um I think that, like Shirrell really hit the nail on the head. It's like you can be completely free to heal when there's no one there to interrupt or say, well, or make an excuse for why this happened, and you don't need to feel this way because I didn't mean it that way, or because that's usually what happens when we start letting somebody know, when you did this made me feel this way or whatever. Then they have I think we probably all, as human nature, we want to go into that defensive mode, and you're like, well, I didn't mean it that way, and I this is what I really meant, or make an excuse or whatever. And sometimes that hinders us from actually experiencing that healing that we need. And so the fact that, yes, that person's not around to say, to contradict your feeling, I think is very powerful, and it does help you to be able to heal more completely and more freely, because you can be okay with how you feel about that situation in that moment and without somebody else contradicting that. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only other piece I would say to that is that I think part of the healing journey, like overall, is when you can get to that space where even if the other person is defensive in the now, you know what I mean, like that you can still find your path to your peace, because that's ultimately what we're doing. Because even if they were here, like if my mom were still here, I would still be so grateful if I could be at the space where I could actually say to her, Mom, I know you just did your best. And like, and
Hmm.
then be able to heal the relationship in the now. Mind you, I don't know. Like I would hate to think that it had to take her passing for me to be able to see that. But like it, trust me, if I could have gone back, even like 6 months prior and just had that clarity, and not that we were in like contention or anything at the time of her passing, but you just, first of all, just being daughters of women, like
Hmm.
we all have things
Yeah.
come up, with your mom. You're like, mom, you're getting on my nerves.
Hmm.
And so just that piece, like it's still just, I think it would have been amazing to have that other level of healing.
Yeah.
Come.
It's definitely true because I'm fortunate that my mom is still, alive. But, we went through a time in our relationship where it was strenuous. And I remember, I'm fortunate too that God just gave me this insight years ago, as I became a mom myself. As I became a mom myself, and I was realizing it's like no manuals come with raising kids.
Mhm.
Like nobody tells you what you need to do. It's kind of like a trial and error thing, you know? And I realized that I had been hanging on to some things and that was affecting my relationship with my mom. And so I remember distinctly, like God just prompted me, like I needed to let go of those things and just let me know in no uncertain terms. Because I mean, my mom was a great mom. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she's probably the most phenomenal woman I know. Um, but nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And so remember, God let me know in no uncertain terms, like she did the best with what she knew how. Because I think it was Denisha that said, like, you learn how to be a mom from your mom, and she learned from her mom, and so forth. And so it's passed down. And so when God dropped that in my spirit at that time, that was like something that really set me free in the relationship with my mom. I remember um, my husband and I were actually driving cross country at the time, and I actually, it was so, the prompting was so strong that I picked up the phone and called my mom. And I just told her that I loved her, and that I know that she did the best that she knew how to do, and I appreciate the things that she did for me. And that was just so freeing for me. And it wasn't even a situation where I needed to say, well, I feel this way, or I need you to tell me why you did this, or none of that mattered at that moment. It was just the fact that I know what my issues are, what my truth are, but I also know that she has her truth as well, and that she did the best that she knew how to do, and she did a phenomenal job. And I just had to accept that, and that was in itself freeing for me. So just having that conversation with her was amazing, and I think our relationship changed from that moment on. It just, you know, there was a turning point because there was more of an for me, from my perspective, there was more of an acceptance of there were some things that are outside of my control. Some things are outside of her control. So there was an acceptance and a freedom in that.
If I can just touch on one thing, I was no for me though. I think the barrier was myself as far as our relationship. My mother, you know, she was different, you know, she was a different grandmother than she was a mother, but I was still holding on to the mother that I wanted. And it wasn't until her leaving that I had to let that go. That's the only way I could let that go, because it's like I always wanted this certain person and she just wasn't that person. And so, I mean, when she's no longer here physically, that's when I had to say, okay, I have to let that go. And so then I came to, she did the best that she could while she was here. And that, you know, and me longing for this person or, you know, something different is no longer, you know, when she was here, you expecting or wanting somebody to do something different, but she's no longer here. So I had to come to terms with that. Like, that's who she was. That was my mom. And then when I look back at it, you know, like I said, I didn't miss a beat. You know what I mean? I had a good life. She did right by me. You know, it's just my thought, what I thought I wanted, what I thought that I needed, you know, but again, if I was raised differently, I wouldn't be who I am today. So it did take her, unfortunately, to leave this earth for me to come to terms with. She was she was the best mother for me, who I was, you know, and I had to let go of that expectation of what I thought she should be. And so, like I said, and here you know, it's so crazy because I'm coming full circle. I have a teenage daughter, you know what I mean? And we're just like, and it's the same thing. Like I don't get her. She doesn't get me. And I feel like I did the best that I could. And you know, we still can't figure it out, you know what I mean? So here we are.
Mine is 29, and I feel the same way. Like I did the best I could. She was right, but I did the best I could, and we have a great relationship now. But it took her to become an adult for us to stop that clash board. I mean, it was crazy, and now sometimes I don't get through a work day 8-10 hours. I'm thinking I miss my baby because she wasn't here anymore. So yeah.
Hopefully we can get there. So like I said, she just turned 18, and as soon as she turned 18, she just like completely lost her mind. I'm like, who is this person? Yes. My daughter has been taken over by aliens. I'm telling you, this is not who I am.
Oh, I know. My daughter was like, "What are you getting me for my 18th birthday, Mom?" That's when she had that entitlement attitude. I was like, "Some suitcases and a bus pass." Holla, you gonna be about him. So she's gonna.
Nisha, I feel like ideally, I feel like things will get better, because definitely like 15 to 20, you know, me and my mom, like we spoke, like we were cool, but there was always it was all, I always had a response. I'm gonna be very honest. I had a response.
Oh, you know.
Honey, a response. Respectfully, but a response. Nonetheless. But it was funny. It was really like when I got out of college and I was an adult, and then all of a sudden that was when she like started becoming my best friend, right? It was like, oh, you know, I'm calling you on my lunch break, like, hey mom, what you doing? And then I remember I had this one job where I was traveling a lot, like going to different clients' houses, and she was in one of the areas where one of my clients were. I would go surprise her at work and be like, hey, I'm around. Like, I just go hang out with her for a few hours. So I'm going to hold space that things will transition.
I receive it.
All right, let's touch and agree. Touch and agree.
I receive it.
Wait it out, sis. Wait it out. Let her get it out her system, okay? Let her get it out her system and come back to reality. Okay, the last thing I wanted to wrap this up, the mom piece, with, I think Denisha, you said, you alluded to something to the fact that like our parents are people, like they had lives, right? Like they are people too. They were teenagers once too. They argued with their parents as well. They had their own dreams that may have gotten deferred or whatever the case is. And so that also, just in circling back to that healing, the relationship journey, where all those were all things that once I remembered that or came to the awareness, it also just really supported that kind of like, okay, yep, I see you. I got you. I'm with you. I got you. So yeah, right. Okay. Anne-Marie, thank you for letting us take that detour and also just adding your share. So I think the question, if I'm not mistaken, was, what was the hardest thing for you to open up about when you were writing your chapter?
I think I already answered that in the first half, but just to kind of piggyback onto that, um, the two things that I had to come to the realization um, was that one, my husband was going to be reading this, and his family, and so I was like, what is their response going to be? Because, like we said earlier, it was kind of like, don't talk about what's going on at home. Like, that's how we were raised, don't put your business out there. And here I am being completely vulnerable and transparent and putting a lot of business out there. And so that part, I was just like, and we've just now gotten to a point in our relationship, without giving too much away. We've just gotten to a point to where we can get along and it's not as strenuous as it was. So coming to the realization that when this gets out, that could change. And then the fact that, his family reading this, who, they don't know, because I didn't tell them. I'm pretty sure he didn't tell them some of the things that were going on inside of our marriage. So their response to that and what that's going to do to my relationship with them, because I still have relationship with some of them, good relationships, and what that might do to his relationship with them. But I had to come to terms with the fact that that is exactly the same type of sentiment that kept me from telling my truth. And so in order for me to be completely healed and free and to be able to give somebody else that courage, I had to tell that, and I have to be okay with that. And whatever the backlash from that is, I'm okay with that, because I feel that that's also, in part of my journey, it's also given me a peace of mind. And um the decisions that I made for me, like Shirrell said, I'm being completely selfish in this stage of my journey. And so the decisions that I made for me, um, it gives me that peace of mind. And my peace of mind, I don't know, in this phase of my life, my peace of mind is worth so much more than any relationship that I'm going to lose as a result of it, because I feel like there's no price that you can put on that. There's nothing that you can give to take that. And that my peace of mind is worth more to me than any of that. And so, and then the second thing was, I have two daughters. And in my relationship, I spent so much time protecting and covering to shield my kids from what was going on. that, you know, being so vulnerable about some of these things in my chapter, you know, I'm just like, you know, as I'm going through that, I was like, man, like, what type of example did I set for my girls, that it was okay to live like this, that it was okay to accept these kinds of things, especially being, you know, I have a very strong personality, and it's always been like, if somebody did this to me, I'm not putting up with that. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or whatever. And it's, you know, when that's your personality, and then you react differently when you're actually in the situation, you know, it's very contradictory. So, you know, I've told my girls certain things and taught them certain things, but then what I lived in front of them, because of what I, you know, accepted and put up with, says something different. And so that for me was, more truth that I had to deal with. That, you know, I'm thankful that I made the decision that I did at the time, but, you know, and hopefully it was soon enough to make sure that they don't, in their own relationships, they don't accept certain things, and that they choose, they're selfish and choose themselves. Hopefully that they can learn from that, from what I'm sharing, and hopefully I can undo some of the examples that I've set as a result of that. So those are some things that I had to, that was tough for me as I was writing my chapter.
Sis, come on. Come on. Talking about, oh, I already touched on it. No, you didn't. Okay. You just, there's so many things. I'm like, okay, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. Okay. The first thing I want to just touch on was the last thing about your daughters, because I ended up watching my mom, and granted, I was an adult, so it was a little bit different, but after her second marriage, right? Not my dad, but he was abusive, right? And so even though I wasn't in the house, like, she was confiding in me because we're friends, you know, at that point. And I remember, the long story short is that at the end of the day, your choice now is what is going to be most remembered. So that's what I want to offer you, was like, yes, they may have had some thoughts, like, maybe more than anything, they were probably worried, right? But to see you make the choice to step out and choose yourself eventually is the bigger lesson inside of any of that. So, and the fact that now you have it on paper, come on, it lives forever in posterity, okay? It's on paper now. So if they forgot, they can go read about it and remember and get the lesson again and again and again. So that's what I wanted to offer you. And then Shirrell, I wanted to know if you had any response to the part she was saying about sharing her story, like identifying, I mean, talking about the actual person who did whatever to her, you know, whatever the actual circumstances of the relationship are, because you have a similar situation. You know what I'm saying? Did you want to share, did you want to say anything else in follow up to that?
Yeah, you know, I hope that, and my hope for all of us is that instead of looking through, instead of seeing our stories from the judge's view, you know, the judge sits up here, right? And they're looking down over the courtroom, and they're passing judgment, and they're passing sentences, and etc. I hope that the response will be, um, respect, and really taking a look at the fact that we were able to live through these things and say, wow, if they loved you for all of your greatness, all of your perfection, your perfect family, and the kids are doing good and all that good stuff, if they could take a look at what we were able to portray in their eyes and see that it wasn't perfect, if anything, they should have more respect for the women that we are. And that's my hope for you, Anne Marie, for you, Denisha, for myself, um, all of us. I think we've earned that. However, I believe that we're all in a place in our lives where their acceptance is no longer required. And we love that. And we love ourselves. And take it, leave it, buy it, burn it, whatever, except that this is where we are, and love us in spite of that.
Sorry, I had to write it down. Their acceptance is no longer required. Hi, thanks, hello. I like that's the soundbite. That is the episode soundbite right there. We're in a place now where their acceptance is no longer required. Yeah, that was whew. Okay. It's only fair, Denisha. Do you have anything you want to say to that? You don't have to, no pressure. But I just,
Shirrell said it all. That's it. It's no longer required. So take it or leave it. It's the truth.
Exactly, exactly. And the other thing that I've written down, my note was like owning our stories, right? Because anytime we fail to identify the abuser, the perpetrator, whatever, the other party, it's like we're making it more about them than it is about our story. Like it's ours too, right? Like it happened to us too. And frankly, it's more our story than it is theirs, right? So damn it, I'm gonna tell my story moving forward. So, anyways, ladies out there, if you're listening, it's yours, Lou. You can tell the story.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to dip back into healing in spirit. It just so happens that um, the without giving it away, the perpetrator in my story is no longer with us. And so I think it has been much easier to heal in the spirit. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, ladies. So I had another question, but I feel really, really good about this conversation. How do y'all feel right now? Yeah, like I feel like essentially we took it a couple places we weren't even anticipating. And so I feel very complete. But I want to offer each of you a chance to say anything, any last word, any last remark, any last thought that you want to say. And before we close it out, Denisha, did you have something? It looked like you waved your hand, but maybe you were just wiping the screen, so no pressure. Any last remarks?
I think I'd like to say to the women out there watching is that regardless of where you are in your journey and whatever your situation is, be bold, be courageous, tell your truth because you don't know who it's going to impact. And don't let pride, don't let shame, don't let the judge, like we talk about, keep you or the perpetrator, protecting the perpetrator or, what they're going to think or anything like that. Or don't let somebody else's shortcomings keep you from telling your truth because in your truth, there's freedom and there's healing. And it's interesting to me. I was like making a note as we were talking. We all our chapters are different, right? But as we were talking now, the sentiment is still the same throughout our chapters. Even though we're talking about completely different situations that we've all encountered, our sentiment or the thread in our story is still very similar. And I just find that interesting. I just like when I think about I don't believe in coincidences, and so I feel like it's no coincidence that this group of women came together to write this book. Like I'm just so excited about it, and I'm so excited that Tasha had this vision, because I feel like so many people are going to experience some freedom and healing as a result of this book. So I'm super pumped up about it. I'm really excited.
That's what I keep saying. I'm like, hurry up, come on, I need to look. And to piggyback on what you said, Anne Marie, it's about standing in your power.
Mm-hmm.
Take your power. Wear that cape. Wear it on the outside of your dress, your suit, your pajamas, or no suit, whatever the case is. Stand in it. Stand in it. Be okay with it. I'm shocked how okay I am with it, but you ladies, all of you have helped me be able to stand a little bit taller, with red bottoms or not. I feel like we're standing on each other's shoulders, and it feels so different. I think that all of our journeys, we walked it alone, thinking that there was no one who would understand where we came from, and so like you said, Anne Marie, just all of us coming together and having completely different stories, but having the same, we're going to get to the finish line with the same purpose, with the same gold medal. And I'm just so glad that I'm not alone. It's very empowering, very, very empowering. And I was shocked meeting Denisha for the first time when we did the panel with Tasha some years ago, how we connected, how our stories connected, and, you know, gaining so much strength from listening to her speak. She told her story before mine, and I thought, here's a kindred spirit. There is someone out there who understands um, where I've been. There's, this feels amazing, and this is not to say that I want us all to gather on the soapbox together and wash each other's backs. That is not what I'm talking about. My point is that we have survived some unthinkable life circumstances, and here we are standing strong and beautiful and proud, and content without any. I don't need a pass. You don't need a pass. None of us need a pass to live anymore. And I love it. I just love it. So thank all of you ladies. Thank you.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Your past or where you are right now does not determine where you're going. And we have to remember that. Everywhere we are right now is just a combination of all the choices that we've been making up until this point. And we have the opportunity to change what's going to come if we want to. We just have to make different choices. So don't let, how what someone told you were or where it's going to be or how you felt back then or even your circumstances right now. You have the power to change that. So where you came from does not determine where you're going. And that's pretty much what, I wrote about how I feel every day and how I live every day. I even, my career, if it doesn't serve me anymore, and you gave me that inspiration, Shirrell, how you just, walked away from a career and just started all over and you did it amazingly, and after that, I'm telling you, that just really inspired me, to take a chance and be faithful, and here I am, so again, it doesn't determine your future. You have the power to make change if you just make some different decisions about yourself.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, you guys are so phenomenal.
Okay.
You guys are so amazing. This conversation was amazing. Thank you for being in flow, staying open, and just it was good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so to close out, please tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs. We'll just go Shirrell, Anne Marie, Denisha, and then let them know.
Awesome. So you can find Love Catering, Love Premier Catering and Events at the Love Events on Facebook and IG. You can find me at Shirrell Edey, also on Facebook and IG. And for Chefs for Seniors, you can find us at Chefs for Seniors LASB, and that stands for Los Angeles South Bay because that is the territory that I own. Also on Facebook and IG. You do not have to be a senior to take advantage of the services. I'm here for whatever it is you guys need. No, a family friend needs me, I'm here.
Thank you, Shirrell. Anne Marie, you're next, love.
So you can find me on Instagram, financial_services_solutions. And I don't have my webpage up yet, but you can also email me at annemarie.a.php@gmail.com.
Perfect. Miss Denisha.
And you can find me on IG, TNT Photo Booth. My website is also www.tntphotobooth1.com. And if you want to chat with me personally, I am at nursejeter1@gmail.com.
I love it. Okay. So beautiful people, as you know, we usually have a card pull for the end of our episodes. And today's card that was pulled, actually two came out. So we'll read them both. But the first one is Be the Co-Creator. And this is from, oops, my virtual background is not letting me be great, y'all. Nope, can't see it. Sorry, video folks, I tried to show you. So the card is Be the Co-Creator. And again, this is from the I Goddess Oracle deck. That is my deck, which will be on sale again soon. It is currently not, because I'm limited like that. Okay, I Goddess Principle number 19. An intentional goddess knows that she is the co-creator of her experience in this lifetime, and she chooses to stay grounded and connected to spirit to create the life she deserves. And the message is, Dear Goddess, life is not happening to you, it is happening because of you. Everything you see in your life is a direct reflection and response to the energy, thoughts, and actions that you have given to the universe. Do you want to see something different? Co-create it. That was the first one. And the second card is simply the yes card, which is one of my favorite ones to get. And the message is yes, yes, yes. You know that thing you've been asking spirit about? Well, the answer is yes. It's a resounding, definitive, affirmative yes. Go celebrate. You're welcome. And I think they mean yes, go buy the book. So Shenomenal Women will be out this month. Y'all love that? Y'all like that?
Love it.
Buy the book. But more importantly, y'all, be the co-creator. I feel like that was the last, I think it was Denisha who was sharing that at the end, right? And so it's really just like, you can have whatever you want, just decide, make the choice. And so if there is something you were thinking about, if there's a change that you're thinking about making, a situation you want to step away from because Anne-Marie has just inspired you to know that you can do it. Spirit is also saying, yes, go do it. But it's your choice. You get to change your life at any minute. Like Shirrell, you can change your relationship at any minute, like Denisha. It's up to us. We get to co-create our lives in a very, very beautiful way. And so with that, y'all, this episode is complete. I want to thank my beautiful co-author guests again, Shirrell Edey, Anne-Marie Anderson, Danisha Jeter. Our book will be out this month in March. I'm sorry that as of this recording, we don't have an exact date, but guess what? It'll be in the show notes for sure when you see this episode. And I may dub it in here with the actual date. And you can until next time, guys. Until next time, I am grateful for you. I appreciate you, and be blessed, be amazing, be intentional. I will see you on the next episode. Goodbye. Love you guys. This has been another episode of the I Goddess Things podcast, created and produced by Camille Telicia of The Intentional Goddess. Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a fellow goddess, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and rate and review it so other goddesses can find us and join in too. We're available on all podcasting platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. For more information about The Intentional Goddess, head to www.theintentionalgoddess.com, and you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at The Intentional Goddess. See you in the next episode.